Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by our transfer expert, Bernard Janine. How you doing, Bernard?
Oh yeah, lack of transfer expert. Yeah, I mean,
But
it's
here's
all, my basis of this though. I will defend myself. Is that I'm not going to waste my time looking at these players that we're linked with because 99% of the time it never happens. So why I've got other things to do, on City, not just in my own life, but I've got other things to worry about the current team rather than. So if someone says he's coming, then I'll have a look. Then I'll check him, but I'm not. I don't get into this.
here's
This
the
thing.
thing. Here's the thing. This is why you're the expert. You will help us with to show us the areas we need a player, the kind of player we need. Okay, and then it's up to us mugs to go out. It is to go and look at the kind of player that to see if the kind of player that has been mentioned fits into what City you're looking for right now.
Cheeky sent us a list out. We know, won't we? This list of what he wants: first choice, second choice, third, all this that
They have that.
They do.
I'm glad you mentioned that. They have this first choice, second choice, third choice. Now we know there's a few names we mentioned, but first of all, before we go through the names that have been mentioned, discarded, or we're still looking at, I want to start off by saying, where do you think we need to get more players? Which positions do we need to fill?
Well, if you look at what we played against Newcastle, I don't think defender-wise we're too bad, are we? I know Laporte I've not seen confirmation that he's gone, but obviously it is supposed to be on his way, isn't he, to the Saudi Arabian League? So. Still defender-wise, all right. We've got. I mean, I say that, but I mean, Stonesy isn't overly reliable, is he? That's a problem.
Stones
that is Aki's having a bit of a phase as well. Now we know he's had it before. I mean, knock Stones and Aki out, and you are getting down to the bare bones again.
Hang on. You still got Diaz. You still got Gvardio. You still got Walker. You still got Akanji. You still got Rico Lewis. And you still got Gomez. Can push back. Gomez as well, and Rodri can push back. So I'm not going to worry just yet. I think we're over.
As I say, I was just being silly and saying, well, there's two. Say another couple get injured, we're knackered. But hey, you can't account for that. And let's face it, Pep would have Grealish playing fullback anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can cope with that. Obviously, KDB. Phil Foden has stepped in the breach, hasn't he? But Phil Foden's only a little knock away from being missing, isn't he? So who would step into the breach then? I don't think I've got anyone capable of doing that role. So are we happy with the fact KDB's out 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it might be, and relying on Foden? Can't do it. So you need someone there. You need something there, ability-wise. Whether that's his prime position or he's able to do it. The guys we've got at the moment, the Kovacic's and
Grealish,
they're a different type of player. They're not what we need.
You couldn't put Grealish there? Or is that too much of a risk?
No, because I think we would have seen snippets of it. Pep doesn't fancy it. I don't think. I think he's been third year now, so. If it was like, I think he has played similar things first season. I think more than ever, but obviously Pep's got a little slot for him now and expects him to do certain things, and I don't think he's going to deliberately put him. Bernardo, I mean, Bernardo's an enigma for me. Brilliant footballer. Reminds me of David and all the other guys, but he doesn't. Pep doesn't ask him to do that creative sort of role for me. He's the workhorse, even though he's brilliant. And I want to, say I'll always want to see him in around the box because he's a cracking. I think he scored percentage-wise goal scoring. I think he's very good for his chances that he gets. I don't know the percentage as such, but he seems to have that ability to score good goals as well. Like Alvarez, he just surprises you with the goals he can score, Bernardo. So I always want Bernardo further up the pitch anyway, and I just don't think he can play that role. I don't think he can play that sort of position. So, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think there's anyone there particularly. Obviously, if you're thinking back, creative midfielders, obviously we brought the guy back from Sheffield, didn't we?
Paquetá.
Yeah, he can be a little bit creative, but I don't. Based on the fact that we've not seen a lot of him, I don't think Pep fancies it with him.
It's a risk for a young kid.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's too much of a risk to put.
Yeah, that's it. He just doesn't fancy. He doesn't fancy taking that risk. It's important to him this year. He wants a 4. He wants a 4 repeat. He doesn't. He's just not going to start experimenting now with a couple of years left. He wants to. We might suffer long term because of it. In the same way, Fergie made sure he won that league title before he retired. He didn't prepare for what was going on ahead. Yeah. And we're not going to be that bad, of course, but Pep's got his, he wants that. He wants it. So, yeah, I don't think, as you say, McAtee is the guy. So I can't see anyone there in the squad that would fill that position. So, yes, that is a creative, a KD. Well, another KDB. I'm sure there's plenty about out there. And another sort of KDB stroke Foden, a mix of the two. So I'm sure you've got names that can do that job.
Sure
but obviously, the old Paquetá, whoever he was.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about him.
That, and I didn't know too much about him, apart from the fact he started sluggishly and did improve. But I still went, ooh, when they mentioned him. Which so that's that. And obviously we do have a problem with Mr. Grealish. So we do have a winger problem, I think. Probably both wings, because if he's not going to Cole Palmer his head again on the same basis as McAtee, perhaps he doesn't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
So where does that leave the right and the left wing? We've got problems because
Bernardo's playing on the right and Grealish is on the left, but there's no one else to take their place. Especially
it's backup. It's having that squad, and Pep's admitted now that we're short. He likes a small squad, but he doesn't want it this small that he's got at the moment. So Cheeky has to look for a couple, at least 2 more. So you're going to tell me who can come in and do certain roles.
Well, I've been saying for a while that we will get at least 1 more player, if not 2. I was expecting probably 2. I don't think more than that, because I agree with you. The places we needed, this was before KDB's injury, we needed another attacking midfielder who could play potentially 2 or 3 positions. You look at everybody in that side, that City side, and they're versatile. Apart from Kyle Walker, and Edison's versatile, but Pep just wouldn't let him play left back. Walker is the only one who's not versatile. Everybody else, Aki can play left back or left. He plays centre back or left back.
We know as an attacking option, he's a bit.
Well, he's not an attacking option, but last season he's played left back and left centre back. So
across the defence.
Yeah.
Apart from right back, he has played right back, even that.
Everybody in that side can play at least 2 positions if you need them to. Rodri can play centre back; he's done it. So Rico Luz can play left back, right back, alongside Rodri. Grealish is basically stuck out on the left, and that's it. Bernardo, we know he can play in the middle. He can play out wide. Ford can play out wide, either wing, number 10, wherever. So everybody's versatile. So I think Pep would want somebody else who has that flexibility, that versatility. And the winger, absolutely. Someone, it may be great to get someone who can play anywhere, like Foden, across the front 3. That would be awesome. If failing that, get someone who is flexible to play as an attacking midfielder and someone else who can play either wing. So I think we kind of agreed where we're looking at. And I think, obviously, I was expecting Paquetá to sign until we find out about this betting investigation, where we can talk about it because he's not been charged, I think. But from the things that have been released so far, he's going to be found bang to rights. Brazil have dropped him. Because they've said, get your house in order first, and then West Ham won't drop him because he's a valuable asset to them. West Ham are probably kicking themselves because if they sold him to us when we'd offered him 70 million, he'd be our problem now, not theirs. And they'd have gone on to buy somebody else. So Paquetá, that deal is dead in the water. If you don't know the details, you can watch some of the other videos we've done. But briefly, he's been accused of spot betting, not directly, but people,
associated mates and relate,
5 people have at least 5 people opened accounts with Betway. I mean, they couldn't even choose a different bookie. The ones that sponsor West Ham, I can't believe that. I mean, I used to work as an internal auditor. Sometimes we did investigations. You look at things and you just think, idiots. The one thing that gets people caught more than anything is being greedy and stupid. and thinking no one's going to find out. So this was greedy and stupid, thinking, I mean, no one's going to find out. So that was the thing. And then they put the maximum they could. So they opened new accounts with Betway and put the maximum they could in those accounts. I mean, red flag. Okay. And then they all bet on the same thing, him getting a yellow card. And not only were they not content with making a bit of money on him getting a yellow card, they doubled it up with this guy in Spain to get a yellow card on the same weekend. I mean, come on, guys. Every one of those is like a red flag. And then you go and double it up. And just in case no one spotted the trend. But at the time, people spotted that trend. There's a guy, an Arsenal fan said, how can Paquetá getting a yellow card be odds on? How can it be odds on? This was before the game when the guys had 3 yellow cards all season. How can it be odds on? And that was simply because the weight of money was the odds on. And someone else said after the game, I said, hang on, what was that yellow card for? Where the guy was going nowhere. Paquetá doesn't get many yellow cards. And there were 3 other West Ham players around him. There was no need for that. And that was a game that Paquetá got yellow carded. And that was one of the games that's been mentioned in this investigation. So I think he's banked to right. So we've got to, obviously, we've got to move on. 3 names I'm going to throw at you. One is a winger that, reading today, we're recording this on Monday morning. It is Monday morning. Get me days right. Is Jeremy Doku, who I did a video on Jeremy Doku a little while ago, who is a kid from Belgium. He's a pacey winger. He's only 5'8" tall, and he's playing in France at Stade Rennes at the moment. Now, if you'd asked me earlier in the season, if you'd asked me to look at this guy without City's interest, I'd have said, 30 million. Where City are looking at paying up to 60 million for this kid, which is ridiculous, in my opinion. But the kid has something. Hopefully, Pep won't coach it out of him. He's got that ability to take people on. And you can go and look at some of his stats are okay. You know, his League 1 stats last season, played 29 games, scored 6 goals. Quite like that. He played a little bit in Europe, but didn't score. But I like 1 in 5. That's okay. It's not brilliant. It's very Grealish-esque, let's say.
Assists? Any assists?
I'm only looking at Wikipedia, so I don't look at the assists. I just focus on the goals. I apologise.
He was a winger. You want assists, don't you?
Yeah, plenty of assists. There was plenty. There was assists because I saw a couple of videos. So there were some assists as well because you saw him set people on and put some good passes in for people to tap in. So I'm just having a quick look, but I can't see. Yeah, 2. I'm just looking in the UEFA Europa League. He had 20 passes per match, 82% pass completion, and 2 assists. Reasonable, but you know,
he's not gonna. He's not seasoned. He's not going to come in and pull up trees, I don't think, because he needs to be groomed a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. He needs a bit of time. But he had. I'm trying to remember.
Is he right-footed? Right-footed, left-footed?
He's right-footed. Yeah. I'm just trying to. Obviously, I don't look at a lot of stats, but he was one of the top. I think it was Jeremy Doku was one of the top 3 in dribbles in the whole league, and that's with players like Mbappe, you know, and Messi. So he's not rubbish, basically.
He's going to cause me problems. One of my favourite games back in the day was Legend of Zelda and the Deku nuts. So I'm going to get all confused if he came anyway. With my name calling.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, I think he's exciting, and it's a long time. I mean, when was the last person who, as soon as he got the ball, got you off your seat, Bernard? Who was the last person to do that?
We haven't got anyone anymore, have we? I mean, you know.
Who was the last one that did that for you?
Well, Raheem and Leroy, I suppose. Flying.
Yeah. Leroy was my man. Leroy was my man.
Raheem at his best, yeah. I mean, you know, even now, I think he did it. Chelsea won the penalty, and he was flying. You know, he was flying through everybody and got the penalty, and that's what you want to see. And to say Leroy. It's just something about him, although obviously for that odd minute, he had another 89 where it wasn't very good. But
I'll say, but Doku only got, as far as I can see, 2 assists last season.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. He's not someone who's worth 60 million, is he? Let's put it that way.
No. That's why I say 60 million just sounds a little bit heavy for this kid. But
he's not going to solve a problem that we might have certainly for the next 3 or 4 months.
Here's the thing: he's a right winger, okay, which means Pep will play him on the left wing.
Yeah,
we just know it. But here's the thing: it might take him a season. It might take him a season to bed in, okay? But he's young. I think that's in his favour. He's only 21 years old, only just turned 21. So he's young. He's got blistering pace. He will go inside and outside. So if Pep can sort his recycling out, if Pep can sort his defensive requirements out, he will be somebody who will take players on, get past them, and score goals. And I think he will. I think he'll remind us of Raheem Sterling. That's what I think, because Raheem Sterling was a right-footed player playing on the left wing, and I think he'll remind us of Raheem Sterling. And I think if he steps up a little bit, he'll get us a lot more goals than Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish got 7. Jeremy Doku playing 30 games in the season, I reckon he'll get you 8, 9, 10 goals. Like Raheem in his good season when he got 20 league goals, coming in from wide. But then that required Raheem was scoring goals because someone on the other side, KDB, was putting crosses in, and Raheem would come in at the far post and say, "Thank you very much." He's a tap in. So you need somebody putting crosses in. Maybe when KDB's back, people putting crosses in, and Doku will be finishing them off. So I think as a winger, Jeremy Doku is exciting. He's going to be expensive, but it's an option. It's an option. The other 2 names I've seen mentioned as an attacking midfielder, okay, in recent times, especially since the Paquetá deal went south, is Florian Wirtz, who's only 20 years old. Florian Wirtz. He's very young, plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He's been with their first team for the last, I think, 3 seasons. He plays in midfield, attacking midfielder. Reading his bio, he can play on the left wing as well. So I like the fact straight away that he's got that versatility. He plays for Germany. He's had 8 appearances for Germany. He ain't going to be cheap, and his team probably doesn't want to let him go either.
So is it eight full caps for Germany? The full team.
Yeah, national team since 21.
Not bad at 20, is it?
It's not bad at 20 years old, and he played for Germany when he was 18. So I think that's good. In a proper season in the Bundesliga, okay, last season he only scored 1 goal, which was a bit of a concern after 17 appearances. But the 2, I don't know why, but the 2 previous seasons, he played 24 times, scored 7 goals. That's 1 in every 3.5. I like that. The season before, in 2020, when the kid was 17 or 18, that was 3 years ago. So he'd have been 17, 18. He played 29 times and scored 5 goals. 1 in 6. It's quite good. In total that season, he played 38 games and scored 8 goals. The following season, when he scored 7 goals, actually that season he played 31 games and scored 10 goals. So those 2 seasons together, very, very good. Almost 70 games, almost 20 goals. So that's a goal every 3.5 games. Last season, I don't know what the anomaly was. It was a goal every 6 games, which is a bit disappointing. But
I've been found out.
Nah, he's only 20 years old, mate. I think he's got plenty to offer. He's had 1 appearance this season in the Cup where he scored. That's a good start to the season. It does look very impressive because, he made his debut on the 18th of May, which is my birthday. Hey, everybody, just remember that. 18th of May. Because after impressing for the under-17s, so he was only 17 years old and 15 days when he made that appearance. Scored his first goal a month later against Bayern Munich. I think he was the youngest ever goal scorer in Bundesliga history. It's only 17 years and 34 days. So he has been surpassed by, what's that kid's name? Yusufu Moukoko, I think. But, I think he looks exciting. It's one of these. I think he's at a young enough age that obviously he's got plenty of time ahead of him. The only issue is if you're getting him as an attacking midfielder, he's very young. You could argue he's inexperienced, even though you could say actually he's played 77 times in the Bundesliga. That's actually a pretty decent number of games. But is he old enough to give you that experience that you want? He's got the experience in terms of games, but is he old enough to give you the experience you want? Because you want someone to slot in. You know, if you want someone to cover for Foden, you don't want to. I think you don't want a kid to cover for Foden. You want someone a little bit older. And here's somebody who's a little bit older. Definitely a little bit older. I've seen his name mentioned the last few days. Is Nicolo Barella, Italian chap. He is 26 years old, so plenty older. 5'8". Okay. He had his first appearance in 2015, so that's 8 years ago. It's a long, long time. He's an Italy international, 45 appearances, 8 goals. That's not bad. He plays for Inter Milan at the moment. Inter won't let him go for anything.
Did he play against us?
Oh, you ask a question now. I honestly don't think so. I don't think I'm just looking at his stats. He's only played once in the Serie A. I don't think he's played anything else. In his other columns, he's got nothing. So I don't think he played against us. He's played 108 times for Inter. Actually, no, he played a bit more than that because he came on loan for a while. So he's played 135 times for Inter, 13 goals. A bit down on the goals. It's 1 goal every 10. But he's there to, I guess he's there to provide. He's not there to be, although for Italy, he's scored 1 every 6. So he's got a better record for Italy, but we were a better team. So he's another one that's been mentioned. And I'm afraid you're going to have to go and have a look at this guy. But reading some of his bio and stuff, he was named the best young Italian player that was born in 1997 for 2 consecutive years. So they have this funny category, so that they do this, and he's been described by Mina Rizzucchi, who's an Italian journalist, as an intelligent, promising, and composed midfielder. But he's 26 now, so he's certainly not young anymore. And she said he can dribble through a defense, score volleys, start counterattacks. He knows how to find the right pass and is box to box. And more importantly, he can win back possession quickly and recover the ball. So he's got a lot of praise from ex-players like Pirlo and Del Piero. And he's been compared. This was Gazzetta dello Sport. Compared him to Steven Gerrard, describing him as a dynamic player with good.
Well, I don't want him then. If he's Steven Gerrard, but well, now him
with good technique, vision, stamina, physical strength, despite his stature, as well as ability to win balls, which enables him to break down possession and subsequently start quick attacking plays. He's a versatile player. Capable, once again, he's capable of playing anywhere in midfield, and has
on that basis, you probably make a good defensive midfielder.
Well, actually, it's what it says. He's been used as an attacking midfielder or as a defensive midfielder. His favourite role is on the right side, offensive-minded central midfielder known as, in Italy, the mezzala. I think this is pushing it a bit, known for his eye for goal with 1 in 10.
Yes. Might have an eye for it, but we can't put the ball in it. That's a problem.
Yeah, Jack Grealish, Ian High. But his Italy teammate Jorginho has likened him to N'Golo Kante. So, we've been linked with him. For me, he's more of a defensive-minded midfielder with his goal stats, but he can play there. But on the other hand, he's an experienced body. He's been playing for 8 seasons at top level. He's played a lot for Italy, and he's versatile to play on the right of a 3 in midfield, as an attacking midfielder or as a defensive midfielder. So it gives us options, and I think that's what Pep wants. Pep wants options out of players. But if I had to say who we're going to sign, I couldn't tell you. I think up until last week, I thought Paquetá was getting done. I thought Paquetá was almost over the line. But that's gone permanently. Now we're in a desperate. We are desperate for bodies. We've got 10 days to go.
We've got money. Money's not all right. We have to overpay.
We have a limit. We have a limit.
Mitoma not available. Is he not? We've not been linked with him.
I don't think our limit extends to Mitoma. Come on, can you imagine? We go to Brighton now. What they're going to say to us?
I don't like Brighton. They're far too canny with their sales.
Besides the fact they would have asked for 80 to 100 million anyway, the fact they pulled Chelsea's pants down for 115 means, they'll pull our pants down for. Honestly, it would be 120 million quid. That's what I'd expect.
Can he not go on strike or something like that and pay half his fee or something like that?
I can't see him doing that.
So join the treble winners. Come on, peak. They should be falling over themselves to join us.
Well, Mitoma would be a guy I'd love to have at City. Can't see it, or I can't see it until next season because I just don't see Brighton selling. Having said that, Brighton got a ton of good players coming through.
Top of the league, mate.
Top of the league, yeah. I mean, why would they sell to also-rans like Man City?
Why would they sell to the second place team and the top
of the league? So for me, I think Jeremy Doku seems a very good option. And we don't seem to have any other irons in the fire, and because it's only 10 days to go, we're gonna have to move. So I think Jeremy Doku does look like he's one that could come. And I'm.
Do you think when Pep said we'll be getting another when he was interviewed about 10 days, 14 days ago, he said we've got someone. Do you think that was Paquetá?
I think that was Paquetá. I think by all accounts we were expecting to get Paquetá.
KDB wasn't out then, was he, when he was saying that?
So we were expecting to get. Even when KDB wasn't out, I said we'll get one or two because we've got Guardiola in, Laporte's gone. That's fine. We've got Kovacic in, Gundogan's gone. But we lost Mahrez, and we weren't expecting to lose Mahrez. So we do need someone on the wing, okay? Whether playing left or right. So we do need someone to replace Mahrez because we had the smallest squad last season. So that one seems genuine.
What more can Palmer do? He's kicked in with a couple of goals. What more can the lad do if he's looking for a direct replacement for Mahrez? Why is Pep not risking? Is it what we said before that he wants it this season? He wants this title again, and he doesn't have 100% confidence in him.
But I would say this. It's going to be.
Palmer's a bit. I think he's a bit miffed as well, isn't he? From what I've reading between the lines and what he said.
But you're going to look at even Fordham. There's an interview after the game. I think it was with NBC, and he said it's a struggle. It's hard to get into this side. Okay, and this is Foden. This is Foden talking. It's been difficult. It's hard, and it is a struggle because we are stacked full of good players. The problem Palmer's got, Julian Alvarez. You can't, Julian Alvarez is above Palmer in the pecking order. There's no question about that. If we get Jeremy Doku, he's above Palmer in the pecking order. Bernardo playing out on the right, that's where Palmer wants to play. He's higher than him in the pecking order, and that's Palmer's problem. His issue is he has to stick it out for another season, and there'll come a point where he can't. But I think would be his last season of trying to stick it out.
He's not very flexible, either, is he? I don't think there's any options of him playing anywhere else.
I don't know. See, I would say Palmer can play on the right wing or as an attacking midfielder.
He's played on the left, and I think he's played on the left.
Yeah, he can play either wing. The problem with Palmer as an attacking midfielder is losing the ball, and that's Palmer's problem. He's not experienced and composed enough yet to be given that what's the word? Given that, not the opportunity, but given that responsibility. On the wings, you lose it there. Okay, you've got the full team to try and to help you out, but you lose it in midfield. It's a bit, when everybody's starting to push forward, it's a bit more of a problem. So I think Palmer's got that issue ahead of him. So if you're asking me, and I know you're not, but if you're asking me now who I think we'll get, I think Jeremy Doku. I feel that one's going to get over the line. I felt that before. I feel that one's going to get over the line simply because we need him. We need somebody. I think if Paquetá had his problem, if KDB hadn't been injured, we wouldn't be paying 60 million for him. I think we'd been paying 50. But Ren, no, they can look, and I've got no problem with Ren because you look at it and say they're doing the best for themselves. So I've got no issues with that, about them, pushing us an extra 5 or 10 million. We'd do the same if we were in their shoes.
Why are we not picking up any players from our sister clubs? We got enough of them. We don't seem to, I thought, we'd have all these young players from different areas of the world. All of a sudden, we'd be getting them.
But my feeling is, but I don't think they're good enough. Okay, that's one thing. And some of the
sister clubs, a bit of a worry. I mean, I thought that was the whole idea.
I think
we're being selfish here and saying, obviously, I just thought that was the plan to feed Manchester City. But
I think it takes time. I think just exactly the same way the academy is taking time. I mean, look, how many academy players have we got in that first team or in the squad? Phil Foden, Rico Lewis in that squad, and Cole Palmer. You can argue because he played enough games last season. He played more than Rico Lewis, I think. Those are the three. So it's going to take time. And these, sister clubs, it's going to take time to find the right players. And I just think right now we want somebody who's experienced. That's why Barella, his name has cropped up. That's why Doku, because whatever you want to say, Doku has played. Well, Wirtz has played 77 league games. So I can see why his name is mentioned, because he's got, even though he's young, he's got experience. He's got that experience. Now, I'm just reading that Simon Benkowski, I don't know who he is, Benkowski, saying Bayer Leverkusen are determined to keep Florian Wirtz until the Euros next summer, and will expect over £100 million when they do eventually sell. A move right now would be very difficult, which you expect. Fabrizio Romano saying Manchester City advancing on Jeremy Doku deal as new verbal proposal close to 55 to 60 million euros package is being discussed with Rennes. There's competition, but City hope to reach an agreement with Rennes this week after green lights on player side since beginning of August. I've told you that 2 weeks ago that about Jeremy Doku. I can't believe this. West Ham had a bid of £30 million rejected. I mean, I don't know what they're smoking there. But that's the figure I thought he should be. But Doku himself, he's played a decent number of games. I think he's played.
Have we got any pictures of him with a City shirt on? When he was
not yet. No. But no, Jeremy Doku has played 108 career appearances. That includes the Belgian Pro League. In Ligue 1 in France, he's played 74 times. So he's got, in my opinion, he's got experience. He's got, maybe not as, he's not old, but he's got experience. Cole Palmer, on the other hand, for everything we say, he's only played 19 times in the Premier League. So he hasn't got built up that experience. I think that's the only reason I can see that Doku at 20 or Wirtz at 20.
Is it time for Palmer to go if Doku comes in?
I'd stick it out. I mean, it's easy for me to say. I'd stick it out for one more year. And if it doesn't... But the problem for Palmer is there are people after him now. Brighton apparently bid 30 million. West Ham looking at 35 or 40 million for him. He was
West Ham were after Doku,
Yeah, but West Ham can't afford Doku, and West Ham would have to go up to 60 million for Doku, which they don't want to do. And Doku's looking at City, so I can't see that happening. West Ham were looking at Carlos Borges. Well, I don't know why they didn't press the button on that, and by not pressing the button, he ended up going to Ajax. So we got an extra couple of million euros out of it. Fantastic. So, but I think if Palmer wants to leave, we're going to be looking at 40 million. If we're having to pay, and I don't see why not, if we'd have to pay 100 million euros for Wirtz, 60 million for Doku, why can't we be asking 60 million for Palmer? It's a crazy window. Problem for Palmer is if he does stick around, maybe the opportunities won't be there next season. Maybe the transfer market would have cooled down. Maybe Saudi won't be buying lots of players. That'd be it. Saudi Arabia come along and offer Cole Palmer 50 million a season to go and play in the Saudi League. That's just joking. But personally, I'm not in his shoes. I'd try and stick out for one more season because he's a City fan. But after being frustrated for 2 years, thinking I might be frustrated for another season, seeing how Romeo Lavia Okay, he's not going to play much at Chelsea, but seeing how he moved to Southampton, now he's playing, he's a £60 million player. Seeing Jadon Sancho move to Dortmund, now he's a £70 million player. Maybe he thinks, I need time. And he will not develop much more at City now unless he's playing first team football. He has to be playing. And when I compare him, I have compared him with Phil Foden. In as much that when I compare him with Phil Foden, I say in Phil Foden's first 2 seasons, full seasons at City, okay, he played 5 games in the first season, league games, and 13 in the second. 5 and 13. Cole Palmer played, I think, 4 in his first season and 14 in his second season. So, but Phil Foden's third season was 23. And that's a good number. And then 28, and then 28, and then 32. So he's now playing the number of games he should be. So that's why I'm tempted to stick it out for one more season, because this might be the season that Cole Palmer gets to 20-odd games and shows that he should still be here. I don't know. Well, Bernard, thanks for the chat. Well, any more questions?
No, that's fine. I was just hoping
Cheeky
might have joined us part way through to give us the rundown on this list he's got, but obviously not.
Messages now from Cheeky. No. I've got to say this 10-minute chat that I thought I'd have with Bernard has now turned out to be about 35 minutes, but a bit longer than expected. But guys, if you have stuck it out, watched it through to the end, I actually think there's some good insights. I'm not just saying this. I don't go around blowing smoke around. I think there's been some good insights as to where we need positions filled, whether we want young players, old players. We've looked at some potentials coming in. We've looked at Cole Palmer and what the future is for Cole Palmer. We've even mentioned Paquetá. So I think this has been a very wide-ranging discussion, and I hope you like it. And if you do like it, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you hit that bell icon, you'll be notified as soon as new videos come out. Give us a thumbs up, because, hey, even though we're old fellas, we still like a thumbs up. I don't know where we want the thumbs up, but we still like a thumbs up occasionally if we can get it. And go and follow the Citizen channel. Go and get some more history and historical insights from Bernard's channel. I will drop a link in the comment section below. If you are lazy enough, you youngsters, not to even just go and search on Google.
Everyone's a youngster to me, mate. Don't worry about it.
And then I'll drop you a link so you can go and click on that if you want to. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Bernard, have a fantastic day. I know it's 7 more days before match day, and I'm just
dreading having to do a Laporte thing now. Laporte, somebody of his career now. It took me ages to do Mahrez. I've got to do Laporte now.
Laporte played fewer games, didn't he? Well,
yeah,
I'll let you get on with that.
How many seasons has he been with us? I can't remember now.
He came in 6 months before Mahrez.
All right, yeah, but I'll still do a detailed look each season, so it's got to take just as bloody long.
Well, you got something to look forward to there. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you around, Blues.